Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Let's see who's here. All right, friends, let's go ahead and get started with Q&A today. I'm going to look at our thread. So today's theme is everything winter solstice. We have winter solstice coming up on Sunday, December 21st, which officially marks our return of the light. It officially means that we are in winter season, that we are in a now moving into an earth sign. We're going from Sagittarius into Capricorn. Lots of big shifts happening at the end of this week. So we're covering things like ritual, Yule prep today, and then other questions if we have time. I'm going to focus though on our Yule questions from our students. So the first question that I have here that's about Yule is Yule baking. This person says, it seems baking is a big part of Yule traditions. What's a witch to do if she doesn't have the ability to bake in her home? Also, is it okay to light Yule candles during the day? Hubby is not a fan of candles, so I try to do all my candle work while he's at work. Yes. Okay. Love this question. So, baking is a big part of Yule traditions. Baking is a big part of the holidays, whether or not you celebrate Yule or Hanukkah or Christmas or Diwali or any of the winter holidays, right? I'll just lump them all in together. Food is generally a very big part of culture, and celebration, ritual, sabbat is a big part of culture. So, food, prepping, eating, which the Greek and Italian in me loves, is a big part of Yule celebration. If you don't have the space to bake, or you don't like baking, or you're like, I am not a kitchen witch, I don't want to do that, that stresses me out. That is one thing that I love about the way that we run Haven, right? I firmly believe, and this is how I instruct my students, to do what feels aligned for you. Do what feels in alignment for your body, what feels in alignment for your diet, what feels in alignment for your time and effort and attention and energy, right? If you are like, I have a gluten allergy and every blog that I read says that I'm supposed to make whole wheat bread, don't do that, right? Like, you need to honor yourself, you need to honor your body. So, the person that asked this specifically asked about space for baking. They don't have space to bake. That's fine. You don't need that. So, if you don't want to bake things or you can't bake things, please know that it doesn't make your Yule Sabbat, your ritual, any less exciting than it could be. It doesn't make it uh, any less potent or powerful or magical because you're not baking, right? That's not a hard requirement. There are no hard requirements for Yule. There are some witches that don't celebrate Yule. I celebrate Yule and Christmas because I fucking love it. Get you a girl that can do both, right? So I think as far as baking, if you want to bake and you can't, but you want the treats around, go buy the treats and bless them. Easy. Go get them from the grocery store or have a friend bake them if you trust your friend, right? Get something that's in alignment for you and your body and your time and your capacity, and then bless them. Have them at Yule. I love that. It's also another beautiful way to incorporate potlucks. If you do a shared ritual with other witches, or you are safe and able to consume food that other people have made, a really wonderful way to facilitate teamwork, to um, facilitate a group ritual, is to do a potluck, so that all of the baking, all of the cooking isn't on you. But it is absolutely not any less magical or frowned upon in any way to buy treats that are pre-made. Support a local business. Grocery store stuff is fine, right? What matters is the intention. What matters is the blessing. So if I'm gonna go buy this coffee and I want to bless this coffee, I didn't brew this. I poured this from a refrigerated plastic bottle of cold brew, right? I can still hold it and bless it and add intention to it, even though I didn't brew it from hot coffee. I didn't grow the beans. I didn't, you know what I'm saying? We can make it blessed and serve our purposes, even if we don't actually stir the batter and bake the cookies or bread or whatever ourselves. The next part of your question, is it okay to light Yule candles during the day? Hubby's not a fan of candles, so I try to do all my candle work while he is at work. Number one, I love that you are being cognizant of the people that you live with, the person that you live with. I can understand not liking candles. I live with someone who's very scent sensitive, so I get that. Yule is about the light returning, right? If you haven't checked out our Yule guide, go check that out. It's on sale for like $7. Um, and I'll put a link to that in the description if you want to go check it out. But our Yule guide is about helping you return to the light. So, what are the practices that help you return to the light? If you want to light candles at midnight, go for it. If you want to light candles at 2 a.m. while he's at work, go for it. I think that what's the most important is that it's your intention, right? This is the same thing. I know you're a student. The person that asked this is a student of ours and a moderator, a graduate of a semester, a graduate of council, and which is our Baneful program. This person knows this, but how I teach this, if you're brand new to me or brand new to our school, is that your intention matters more than anything else. Your intention matters more than any tool. Your intention matters more than the words that you're using. The intention matters more than the timing of your lit candle. The intention matters the most, the most. So when you are walking through Yule energy, when you are working through lighting your candles, what I would draw your attention to is, what is the intention? Is the main intention that you have to not do that around your partner? If so, how can you make that intention stronger with Yule? How can you funnel that intention to something Yule related? Make it less about your partner and their hesitance around candles or resistance to candles. Make it about the light that you want to bring back into your relationships, the light that you want to bring back into your life, the light, the clarity, the returning, the breath of fresh air, the light at the end of the tunnel, right? We're not quite at Imbolc yet. Imbolc is February 1st, and that's when witches celebrate the returnings of spring that we cannot yet see. This is a descent into winter. This is moving from fall season, from Sag season, from fire into winter solstice, into the winter holiday, into rest. Half of the year reminds us that it is time to rest, right? Fall reminds us of things to let go. Winter reminds us to rest, to chill the fuck out, so that by the time Imbolc comes in February and by the time spring equinox comes in the end of March, we have been able to rest and integrate and rebuild our internal container. That's why we put on weight during the holidays. We are fortifying ourselves. We are hermiting a little bit. We are here and we are doing what feels good so that we can trust that the light will return, right? It's a beautiful, 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 beautiful allegory for lots of things: mental health, relationships, the tarot, the fool's journey, alchemy, all of it. So here I would say, if you're lighting candles during the day, is it okay? Yes. If you say it's okay, it's okay. Yes, you are the master and commander of your fate, especially here at Haven. Y'all know I'm not here to teach you to do what I do. I'm not here to teach you to parrot me or to adopt a specific line of dogma or lineage. I'm here to help you own your magic, listen to the magic that the way it wants to show up for you, and then work that into your life. So, can you light Yule candles during the day? Yeah, just like you can light Advent candles during the day. Absolutely. I love that you're being conscious of the person that you live with, and also make sure that your intention is focused on why you're lighting the candles, not why you're lighting the candles at that time. Okay. I want your intention to be really clear. Think about the light that is returning, the energy that is returning to you as you are manifesting this period of winter between now and Imbolc, between now and February 1st. I want you to really think about what intentions you are holding in your heart as you are lighting those candles for you. Okay. Good question. Going to the next one. This is about abundance. This is from one of our students that is a semester graduate. She says, do you have to wait until the moon is increasing or waning to add to your money bowl, or can you do it anytime? I also like to light a candle with it, and I wasn't sure about the timing for that either. How interesting that we have candle timing questions today. I love this. So to answer this person, do you have to wait? No, you don't have to wait. When I teach timing and correspondences inside week 4 of semester, which is our class that's coming up in January, starts January 12th. Semester is our 13-week foundation level class. Okay. If you've already taken it and graduated, you can take it again for 25% of the cost. Okay. Love semester. It is our foundational program. And week 4, I talk about timing and correspondences. So we talk a lot about this. As a refresher to this person and as some maybe new information if you're watching this, when the moon is increasing or waxing, that is the period between the new moon and the full moon. Okay. It's the day 1 through day 14, 15-ish of the moon cycle. Okay. After the full moon, we go into a waning moon, waning meaning shrinking. It goes to the last quarter and then it goes all the way to the new moon, which the moon's not really shrinking, but the sliver of it that's illuminated looks as though it's shrinking, right? It grows, gets big, and then slowly gets into shadow again. So when the moon is waning, or as this person said, increasing, we are looking at that first 14-ish days of the 28, 29-day cycle of the moon. And that is from the day of the new moon till really the day after the full moon. We have a little bit of a shadow period when we can still work magic there. Why is that important? I tell my students that if you are going to focus on one correspondence, one timing measurement, let it be the moon. You can focus on days, you can focus on planetary hours, which are way specific. If you're going to pick one, the easiest one to do, and the one that I recommend, is to focus on the moon. So do you absolutely have to? If you put new money and you work your spell and it's an abundance jar or a money bowl and it's a last quarter moon, a waning moon, will it fuck it up? No, because it's about intention, but your intention is going to have to be really strong. What happens when we partner with timing, when we partner with correspondences like herbs, color, song, energy, frequency, movement, all of that, when we are partnering with those correspondences, when we are partnering with time, when we are leaning into the cycles that nature has created for us already, and we add our intention into that, our magic becomes so much more powerful, because not only are we only relying on our intention and our focus and our brain, which is probably dysregulated, has lived a bunch of life. It's the holidays, life is happening, right? Not only do we have to hold that, we can also add extra oomph, extra emphasis, extra power, extra love into our spells by aligning our attention with the timing that is the most appropriate. For my students, I teach them, if you're gonna focus on one line of timing, let it be the moon. So for this person who asked, do you have to wait until the moon is increasing or waxing to add to your money bowl? Do you have to? No. No, you don't have to, but it will be a lot easier if you do. That is, again, the period between the new moon and the day after the full moon. So cycle, the lunar cycle, day 1 through day like 14 and a half, 15. You want that first half of the lunar cycle. Anytime in there is going to be beautiful. If you want to bring in new money, new opportunities, new jobs, new financial whatevers, new moon is really great for that. The new moon is really wonderful for setting intentions for new things to show up. New moon, new things, right? If you are looking for completion energy and wrapping up a project, getting a final invoice, calling in your final payments for something, I would do that closer to the full moon, which is more completion energy, still waxing. Okay. So there's my answer for the first part of your question. The second part, she says, I also like to light a candle with it and wasn't sure about the timing for that either. Second question we've had about candle timing today, and the same thing stands. So if you are feeding your money jar, money spell, this is about a money bowl. A lot of people have a bowl they will make. It's filled with lots of correspondences that are positive for money. Like basil is a really great one that I use for money a lot. Bay leaf or bay laurel is a really wonderful one that I use for money a lot. Rice is very good for money. Like make the bottom 2-3 inches, however deep your bowl is, make the bottom of it white rice. That's very wonderful for money, abundance, wealth energy. You can work with Jupiter energy, which is really good for luck, really good for manifesting resources. You can work with coins. In my money bowl, I have a bed of white rice, and then I have assorted coins in there. I have folded up bills of all different denominations in there. I've got some citrine crystals, some pyrite crystals. I've got a spell jar that is for abundance inside my money bowl. I've got cinnamon, which is another good correspondence. So my point here is that it can be custom. You can make it whatever you want it to be. You can add whatever you want into your bowl. You can really honestly do it whatever timing feels most aligned for you. And know that the more correspondences you layer, the more hardworking energies you're going to have toward the success of your spell. Simple is good. Don't let it get super complicated, right? Ideally, we want one intention. We want to grow money. We want to increase money. We want to call in money from a specific, maybe you're running a promotion, right? Or you're running a class, or you're wanting to start the new year with more financial abundance. Keep one intention, uno intention, and then you can use lots of correspondences, timing, day of the week, planetary energy, color, herbs, flowers, crystals, stones, all of it. You can use all of that to just 10x, 20x, 30x your particular intention for that money bowl. So that's why I have things like rice and bay laurel and basil and citrine and dollar bills of all different denominations. I actually have a gold gilded dollar bill that I got at the metaphysical store that I keep in there as well. There's lots of things. And so because of that, my intention is so strong and so layered that if I am out somewhere and I come across, let's pretend that this is like $100 bill, right? Let's say that this is $100 bill and I happen to notice it in my wallet. And I think, ooh, I want to put this in my money bowl. And it happens to be a last quarter moon when the moon is waning, right? Which is the opposite of how she started this question. Does that mean I'm going to hold on to this and not put it in there? For me, no, because my intention is so strong that I could still, with full intention and all of that other energy, put this $100 bill in my money bowl, money jar, whatever, and have it continue to up level that energy. If you are someone who internally feels like, I gotta really like only do it the first 14 and a half days of the moon cycle, I have to do it when it's waning or when it's waxing because that's what feels good, listen to that, right? If you're a student of mine watching this, you know that the last thing I will tell you is to follow me blindly. I always tell my students to trust themselves over me and to listen to what feels good in their body, because that's how I teach. That's how I teach, period. I want you to be able to take what I teach and run with it. Take what I teach and apply it to your life. Take what I teach and live it for yourself, right? It's really hard to adopt someone else's ideology. And I grew up in Baptist church. I hate that shit. So I want you to be able to critically think. If it feels good for you to only do it in a waxing moon, you do you, boo boo. But I think for me, just for ease, if I'm going to come across this, in quotes, this $100 bill, right? And I'm going to put this in my money bowl. The thing that feels the best in my body is knowing that I have all these correspondences that are layered, that maybe that's a Thursday. And even though it's a last quarter moon, I'm choosing to align with Jupiter. Thursdays are sacred to Jupiter. They're wonderful for wealth energy. They're wonderful for luck. Maybe I choose to put that $100 bill in my money jar, in my money bowl. And because it's a last quarter moon and because it's a Thursday, I can say, I am releasing, last quarter moon, releasing any blocks to my abundance. I am letting go of any hiccups or speed bumps that are in the way of me receiving the wealth that I know I deserve and desire. Boom, the money goes in there, right? So no matter what phase of the moon, no matter what timing, you can add things into your spell work. You can feed your spells. You can work with them, sit with them, love them, give them energy. But you need to be careful the way that you are writing and organizing your petitions, because the last thing you want to do is work at cross purposes. If you are somebody who's like, I only want to do this during the waxing moon, love that for you. Please do that. We have someone in our school who was joking with me a couple of months ago about using bay leaves in their spell work, right? In their abundance spell work. And they are somebody whose brain works similarly to mine. And they said, I just can't write a petition on a bay leaf unless it's a complete bay leaf. If there's a chunk taken out of it or it's chipped, it annoys me in my brain too much for me to feel comfortable putting my petition on there. It just is going to stick out to me. That is someone knowing themselves. That is beautiful magic. I tell them, okay, great. So make sure you save your full ass bay leaves for those petitions. If you want to crush up the other ones and make incense, if you want to light them on fire with other petitions, love that. But if it's going to stick in your brain and you're like, oh man, I really, really want to write this abundance petition on this bay leaf, but the end of it is broken off, that's going to fuck up my petition. Please honor your energy. Okay. What I care about more and the most beyond anything is that you are able to be yourself in your magic. So I add to my money bowl all the freaking time, regardless of the status of the moon, the day that it is. As long as I am well regulated and I am clear on my intention and what I am adding to whatever spell, money bowl or otherwise, is appropriate for that intention and appropriate for that line of work, I'm in the clear. It's really an internal situation. For this person that asked, you are a sacral generator. And so I would ask you to ask your sacral a yes, no question. Do I want to put money in the bowl? And listen to that internal, leaning in, yes, energy, or the external, leaning away, ick, energy that feels like a block. For a sacral person, only hesitation is a no. So unless you get that gut yes, that inner leaning forward, leaning in, unless you get that, the answer is no. And I would tell you to run that by your sacral. As far as the witch like instruction side of things, whenever you want it to be added, add it. There are lots of people who will tell you it has to be a specific time. I've done this for a really long time and I've had positive success in all different moon phases with abundance spells. It's one of the spells that I do the most. You can have positive success whenever. It's a matter of intention. And your intention will have to be stronger if your timing is working kind of at cross purposes, but you can do it. You can absolutely do it. Good question. The next one is from one of our moderators. Let me take a drink here. This moderator is an awakening student, a semester grad, and a council grad. This person says, the question is about the length of spell effects. Is it true that candle/fire spells don't last as long as other types of spells, like earth spells, for example? I heard somewhere that fire spells work quickly, but the effects also dissipate quickly. From shortest to longest, what is the lasting power for the elemental spells? Ooh, good question. Okay, girly. So reading this one point at a time. Is it true that candle/fire spells don't last as long as other types? No. Somebody may have been speaking from personal experience, saying that, like, all the fire spells I do tend to fizzle out faster. That is probably from their experience. I have not experienced different levels of timing that are based on the elemental spells that I've done. I've had all different kinds of spells last all different kinds of timelines because they're usually the timeline that I specify, regardless of the element that I'm choosing. So just because I'm choosing fire over earth or air over water or vice versa doesn't lock in a timing for the spell. It doesn't lock in a trajectory. It doesn't. Remember, when we are playing with spell work, we are doing spell work. Those of y'all that are Haven students, that we have to play inside the rules of time. So Trinitas magic, we have to play inside the rule of time and gravity because we are on this planet. So we cannot control time. That's why when we map spells, it's a map of moments, not minutes. You get to choose how you want the spell to manifest. We don't get to choose the timing in which it manifests. So that can be hard because we have to have a little bit of a release, a little bit of surrender. Now, the more simple your magic, the more clear cut your magic, the more like simple and potent your intention, it can be made manifest really quickly, which is why we have a lot of witches who are like, I said some shit and then it happened. What happened? Well, yeah, you said something that you really wanted. So is it about the element that makes it fast, or is it about the clarity of intention? That's what I would ask you to look at. Now, I will tell you, there are some witches who have very, very, very close relationships with specific elements. I've told you guys at school at Haven that I work the most recently with air energy. That is just because that's the season that I'm in my life and my practice. I am in a season of clearing. I'm in a season of mental connection. I'm in a season of intellectualism. I'm a fucking teacher, right? I live in air energy. My job is to make sure that I am clearly translating and channeling concepts for my students' brains to be able to receive them, to say it as many times, as many ways as I need to for it to cement, because that is my job. So I do a lot of air energy, a lot of air work, a lot of air east direction spells. Does that mean that they are going to manifest slower or faster than southern direction, which is fire or passion? No, it just means that that's where my intentions are mostly focused, right? Is on typically on air spells. Um, as far as the actual spell, I would say that some earth spells take longer for the actual spell, like you doing spell work. I'm not talking about results. I'm talking about you doing spell work. There are some timing things to be considered when you're working with fire versus other elements. And that is when you're actually in the act of doing spell work. So I don't have them here, but if you can imagine, a tea light, right? That's going to burn for an hour, 45 minutes, right? A chime candle, one of the tiny ones, is going to burn for 45 minutes. If you are doing a spell work, let's say you're doing a Yule candle, you're welcoming Yule, you're getting ready for the winter solstice, and you want to do a meditation or a candle about clear thinking going into winter. Love that, right? So you write you write on your candle, you inscribe it, you dress it. You are going to need to be mindful of the amount of time you want to spend in front of that candle meditating, the time that you're going to spend doing that spell. If you want 20 minutes, do a tea light. If you want 45 minutes, do a chime candle. If this is something you're going to light multiple days over Yule, do a novena candle, right? One of the big tall pillar candles, do that, right? So when you're talking about timing, it is important for when you're actually sitting down and doing the act of spell work, when you are doing I'm going to light this, I'm going to say this, I'm going to focus on this, I'm going to hold this intention, I'm going to, right? When you are doing those things, yes, if you are a student, this is a point two problem, right? What tools do we need based on our limitations? If I only have an hour to sit, I'm not going to light a pillar candle. I'm going to light a chime candle. That has nothing to do with the effects of the spell work and how quickly it's going to take for that spell work to show up and result. All I am talking about is the moment at which I'm sitting, getting ready to do actual spell work. How much time do I have to sit here with the flame and watch it dance so that I can make notes on how my spell is translating? That is going to dictate what kind of supplies you use, what style candle you use, et cetera, et cetera. But as far as lasting as long, that is a matter of your intention, right? I would say typically I check in, unless it's like a one and done spell that I know has already manifested. Like, to give you an example, I had someone contact me a few weeks ago and they said, hey, this person broke up with me and I need a spell so that they will contact me and ask me out again so that I can tell them no, because I want them to regret their decision. I want them to come back to me and I want to have the last laugh. Cool. Did the spell. Less than 2 weeks later, I got a screenshot of it happening. Love that. That's not a spell I'm going to continue to feed because it's done, right? Versus the question that we just had before this about the money bowl, right? A money bowl is an ongoing spell, ongoing. So at least every month, I am in front of my spell of my money bowl, refreshing it. That doesn't mean that it didn't last. It means that spells require feeding. Ongoing spells require energy. They're like an ongoing relationship. This is why when new witches are like, I did 7 spells this week, I'm like, oh my God, gosh, why? Right? Like we have to make sure that we can energetically maintain the work that we put out in the world. And if they're not situations where you're looking for rapid fire, immediate results, like a one and done, like a jinx, if you're a baneful student of mine, like a quick, I once made somebody $1,000 in 24 hours with a simple candle spell, right? Like if you are not doing that kind of magic and you need something more long term, it doesn't mean you have to stay away from fire magic. It just means you need to plan your spell accordingly. Longevity of spell work, every spell that's ongoing, regardless of the element that it's attached to, needs ongoing work if it's an ongoing spell. The way that you would know it needs work is by mapping it. So if you are not a student at Haven, you need to be. Come see us in January, join semester, because I will teach you the 9 steps that every single spell needs in order to manifest. One of those steps specifically is the things that you look for before your spell is completed. You want to pre-script. Here's the things that I'm going to see. So if let's say we're doing a money bowl, I want to see a raise at work without working more hours. I want to see more money in my bank account. Here's the number I'd like to see. I would like to get gifted X, Y, and Z. You're going to script out things to look for. If you do your spell work and you sit for, let's say, I usually say like 8 to 12 weeks, depending on the spell, and you're not seeing those things that you have pre-scripted, then the way that I teach spell work, you will know exactly the 2 questions to ask yourself around how to get unstuck. I'm not seeing what I need to see for this to prove to me that it's working. I'm not seeing the effects of the spell that I want. I'm not seeing the whatever. I'm not seeing the raise at work. I'm not seeing the money on my bank account. In fact, I'm seeing the opposite, right? I want you to have your spell mapped so that you know what to look for. You're not just shooting in the dark, right? And also so that if those things are slower than you want them, if they are showing up parallel but not quite how you want them, you're going to know exactly where to look in your pattern of creation, what to tweak, and you'll be able to do it again with much, much better results, right? That's part of practice. I teach witchcraft at Haven as intention plus energy plus practice. That is literally all witchcraft is. Intention plus energy plus practice. So you're holding the vision of what it is that you want to create. You're holding the vision of looking for limitations as reasons to keep going. You're looking for tools and systems that you can utilize, communities, people, supports, all the things, boundaries that you need around what you're creating, because you are a human. It's important to honor your capacity. You're looking at what you want the spell to look like in the future. How is it going to show up? If you were going to pick up your phone and call a friend and say, oh my God, I did this spell, you'll never believe what happened, what would you be telling them? All of that's only 4 of the points, 4 of the 9, right? You need to make sure that you are fucking clear on what it is that you're creating, why you're creating it, how you're creating it, what it needs to look like, all of the points. None of that will dictate longevity based on the element, right? So just because you're using fire or water or air or earth or spirit doesn't mean that you are programming longevity or not because of that. All spells that are ongoing need to be fed. And just because you're using a particular element doesn't mean that you're going to affect the trajectory or timeline. It would have to be a further conscious thought to affect the trajectory or timeline. And like, I'm going to use a long-term ongoing earth-based abundance money bowl so that I can curate wealth energy over and over. Or I've seen people, I do this a lot with my money tree plant, Pashira aquatica. If you have a money tree plant, grow your money tree plant in a way that is serving your money. See it grow. If plants are like a labor of love, right? You need to be there over time, feeding the spell, loving the spell, feeding the plant, loving the plant, fertilizing the plant, watering the plant, making sure it gets enough sunshine, but not too much. There's a finesse. There's a finesse. Same is true with spell work. It doesn't mean just because you have a specific element that it's going to be longer or shorter term. The second part of this question, she says, I heard somewhere that fire spells work quickly, but the effects also dissipate quickly from shortest to longest. What is the order of lasting power for the elemental spells? So again, it's not about lasting power. Any kind of element can create a lasting spell. It's about your intention. So if you, similar to how I talked about the bay leaf thing, right? If someone is doing a spell work or a spell and they don't want to use a bay leaf that is not intact, let's say the end of it is chipped off. If that's going to be enough of a mental barrier for them that they start to have a lack of belief or a seed of doubt in their spell work, then I would tell them, just like I told our person that asked this, to use only full intact bay leaves in their spell work, right? That's something that's really important. So if you are someone of the belief that, oh, if I use fire magic, it's not going to last as long, knowing who this is, you're a 1-3, you're a smarty pants, and you like walking through mental concepts, I would ask you why you believe that. Why do you believe that fire will not last as long? Why do you believe that your fire spell is going to dissipate? Why do you like examine that, right? What is going on that would make you believe that? And do you have actual firsthand physical evidence of that? Because I wonder. If you are working with an element because you feel like it's longer lasting, I would also look at that too. Like, oh, I have to work this as an earth spell because I want it to land. It doesn't matter really about timing. I think if you want to align things with particular elements instead of looking at timing, I would look at the characteristics of those elements instead. Elements are not time based, they're timeless. So I would look at, if you're working change, you're working some sort of change petition or mental clarity, or you're a baneful witch. So if you did something like a confusion spell, which is mental as well, just the opposite side, I would work with air, right? Doesn't matter about timing, doesn't matter about the longevity of the spell. How strong is your intention? What is your map like, right? I need to see the plan for it. And working with air would be a good example for that because of the kind of spell that you're creating. If you are working with fire, so you're working with bringing light back, you're working with passion, creativity, burning some shit down, right? Lighting a fire under someone's feet to make them move quickly, burning away obstacles, lighting up your creative fire, anything like that, I would use fire, right? Southern direction energy. If you're gonna do anything emotional, intuitive, dreamlike, um, anything nervous system based, solar plexus based, that is a west spell. That is water spell, right? If you are, a lot of times people are like, I'm struggling with my confidence. I'm having a struggle with my confidence and my spell work. I tell them to dance. Move your body. What is moving cannot be frozen. And if we stay fluid, we often have a much easier time handling the emotions that are associated with spell work. So if you're doing something highly emotional, healing, friendship, love, any sort of regulatory, dream work, intuition, anything like that, lean into water. Okay. And then earth as our fourth material element, I would say, earth is good for things like medicine, time, the body, physical resources, wealth. Yeah, everybody thinks of earth resources as money and wealth and things like that. But it's more than that. It's really the body, medicine, time, the things that we need on this planet to survive, right? Pentacles in the tarot. It's the ability that you have to work. It's the ability that you have to make some shit happen. Earth resources are just that. They are the things that we can touch and hold and grab and consume because they are 3D in front of us, right? As well as the actual earth, ground, plants, things like that, food, absolutely earth energy. So a skilled witch will know how to use all four of the material elements together to be able to manifest whatever it is that they desire. Like I've told y'all, often I will work with air the most because that's where I'm at in my life, but I will often bring other elements from other elemental aspects into whatever spell I'm doing. There is not necessarily a shortest to longest lasting power for spells. The lasting power, it really comes from your plan and what you want to see. Knowing that if you want to see something over the period of 6 months, you need to expect that it's going to take 6 months. If you have a big intention, like I said, you are mending a relationship, you are moving cross country, you are doing something big, the moments between the steps that I teach you in semester, the moments between those points that you need to follow to have your spell manifest, those are going to have longer time because your intention is big. It takes more time to birth a baby than it does to make a sandwich. The more complex the intention, the more time it is, which is why I will tell all of y'all to make your intentions as simple as possible. Make them one intention per spell. Okay. A lot of people are, oh, I want to add this and I want to add this and I want to add this. And you're going to complicate it and you're going to make it harder for it to manifest. The simplest, the better. Pick a simple intention. And if you pick one element to focus on, pick one. It does not matter as far as timing. It matters what is in alignment with your intention and what is in alignment with your map. Okay. If you are a Haven student, you know what that means. If you're not, you better get your booty into semester. Okay. We start January 12th. It's a 13-week class. Come hang out. We are an incredible family. And I literally mean that. We show up really, really big for each other. I love y'all. I would pay somebody to do what I do. I love what I do. I love what we've been able to create at Haven, and bringing this next round of semester students into our fold, into our digital doors, into our spell library, into our community is literally giving me life. I'm so grateful and honored to be able to do what I do and to be able to welcome everybody that wants to be part of Haven. Welcome everybody. That's one of the things that I love about what we've created is that we are not a school that does a lot of liturgy. We are not a school that has hierarchy. We are a school that uses team decision making. We believe in reciprocity. We believe in respect. We believe in relationship. We do not teach closed practices. We only teach syncretic practices with which we have permission. We have an all femme of center leadership team. There are 6 of us. We are a phenomenal group. We are an ethnically diverse group. We are a phenomenal group of leaders. And we have a school of a ton of students. We've almost graduated our 100th initiate this year. And we're growing like weeds. So now is the time to be part of it if you want to. If you're feeling the pull, I will make sure that there is a link to semester in the description box where you're watching this video. We would love to have you. Enrollment ends on the 5th of January. If you've already taken semester and you're a graduate, remember that you can retake semester for 25% of the cost. That's for life. You will always be able to retake the class if you've graduated at a quarter of the cost. So if you are interested in retaking it or taking it and you have questions, you can get to me on social media, whatever platform you're seeing this, send me a DM. You can also send me an email. It's my first name and middle name, Telia Nicole @gmail.com. That's how you can reach me. It's probably the easiest. We are going to have a phenomenal time. I cannot wait to get started again on the next round of semester to teach you all the things about the elements, about spell work, about color magic, about the history of witchcraft, about your values, about how to fit this craft into your life, how to bring magic into your life, not the other way around. We want it to fit into your life. We want it to be the way that it works for you and your body and your mind and your heart. We want it to fit into your responsibilities, into the world that you've already created, and help you up level that, not replace it, right? That's what we want. So I love this energy. We are not having this Q&A the next 2 weeks because we have Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. So I will see you on the next Q&A next year in the first week of January. Definitely looking forward to it. I hope if you are watching this in real time, I hope that you have a beautiful Yule, a beautiful winter solstice. I hope that you have a very, very Merry Christmas, a happy winter holiday. This witch is wishing only beautiful, beautiful, gorgeous, golden light blessings for you. And I am sending you so much love. I am grateful and honored that you are here, that you are watching, that you are present, that you are on the planet, that you are here to be present and make memories. Thank you for having the presence to be here, to care about your world and our world and making it a better place. I'm very excited to see how Yule shows up for all of you. Very excited to see the messages and the miracles that we all get to witness between now and Imbolc on February 1st. It's going to be a phenomenal time. Very, very lucky, very blessed to call Haven home. And if you are feeling the pull to come study with us, please, 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 please listen to that. Okay. Thanks for being here, you guys. Love y'all.